All right, we are recording. This is episode 3. I think I'm getting more the hang of it now. Episode 3 of Ladies Code Collective. I had a few funny moments last time I was recording and editing afterward, and just the things that I heard myself say on the podcast, on the episode, was just funny because certain things came out of my mouth that I don't usually say, and I think that that's just part of the process of recording yourself, listening to yourself, editing, whatnot. So, hi friends, welcome back to Ladies Code Collective. I am Alex, of course. A few announcements before we get into today's episode. I was gonna say the meat and potatoes of today's episode. See, this is an example of what it's like. There's this weird disconnect in my brain of like, here, use this weird phrase or expression that you've never used before, but you've like heard of it on TV, or it's just like, I don't know, like your grandmother said it. Anyway, it's goofy today. We're going with it. A couple of announcements. I am giving my first ever conference talk at Codeland Distributed 2020. My talk is titled Being Utterly Fearless in Your Pursuit of Learning to Code, and that's coming up on July 23rd. So make sure that you sign up for tickets if you're interested in attending. I think there's going to be so many amazing people in tech and just coders, developers, and amazing people who are lined up to speak. And I am super humbled to be part of the action. And yeah, I think it's going to be an all-around great time. Again, that's on July 23rd. You can get tickets at you can get tickets at www.codelandconf.com. Codeland, CODELANDCONF.com. And so attending the talk portion is free. It starts at $0. I think that you can pay as you can kind of like have a pay it forward kind of ticket where you donate. And then if you want to attend the workshop portion on the next day, on July 24th, I think tickets start at around $25. You'll want to go to that website just to be sure, but I think it's going to be a great time. It's been an amazing joy to work with the organizers, and I'm really excited to kind of start my speaking journey with this Codeland Distributed 2020 conference. And then next up, one more announcement is sign up for my mailing list at www.ladiescodecollective.com. I am actually launching the newsletter today, since this is actually the first day that I'm publishing the podcast itself. So the first episode is coming out today as I'm recording this. But then anyway, as you're listening to this, it'll be already in the past. But I'm launching the email newsletter today. I'm launching the email newsletter today, and then you'll want to be around to hear, any updates that are coming down the pipeline. I'm going to be starting to lead 6-week productivity cohorts online, and so I'm really excited about that. And then I'm going to be sharing all of those updates in the email newsletter itself, so you will want to be a part of that. Again, go to www.ladiescodecollective.com and you'll see some place to sign up for the email newsletter. Okay, cool. I am ready to get into today's message. Just readjusting some technical stuff here. So today's episode is kind of about the beauty of starting projects. Or bypassing the sort of fear we have, the sort of overanalyzing we have when we have an idea that we want to start, that we want to build a coding project, but it can really be any creative project that we have, writing a blog, launching a blog, starting a website, anything that we can build that we put out into the world where we run the risk of people not liking it per se, I think that we stop ourselves so much from expressing ourselves creatively just based on being wrapped up in what we fear other people will think. And so, especially as women, I think that it's really a trap that stops so many of us in our tracks of, so many women, so many friends I've talked to who want to start creating content, or if they're developers want to launch a coding project. They can have brilliant ideas and they can be the most amazing people, but the fact that they don't know, for example, if people will like it, or they don't know how people will respond to it, that kind of thing really stops them from doing it. And then, one thing leads to another. We kind of lose motivation for launching the project, that motivation, that inspiration that we have right at the beginning, and then it just ends up being another kind of lost idea that ends up in kind of like a metaphorical waste pile in our brains. And another thing too is often we'll delay going all in on a project because we fear that we fear what other people might think of it, especially if it's negative. We also kind of fear not being perfect and not having the perfect version of the project ready to go, ready to launch. But the thing is, of course it's not going to be perfect when we just start out, especially if it's a new endeavor that we've never really explored before. So, for example, this is the first time I'm launching like this kind of production level podcast. I've definitely dabbled a few times with friends or just in past pursuits, but this is the first time that I'm launching this, and I'm so aware of the fact that it's not perfect. Like, if we get too hung up on pursuing perfection, I say in quotation mark, in air quotes, we're never going to launch it, because objectively speaking, perfection does not exist. Like, you can't bring your project or anything you have to a panel of perfection experts, and they'll give you like an objective score on how perfect it is, right? And so as we start to let go of a lot of those perfection-seeking tendencies, I think it becomes a little easier to launch projects without that extra baggage that we carry so much, and that really takes away from what we bring to the projects themselves. And so, let me look at my notes a little bit. So I think here the solution for when we're a little bit hesitant to launch something or to share something that we've built or to even start it is to flip the script and ask yourself, okay, what's interesting to me? What kind of project do I want to build? Because I'm inherently and just deeply interested in this. When I talk to creative women in any realm, something that stops them from launching, from building, from sharing their creativity is just that they don't know what others will respond favorably to. But that's kind of giving up the power of your own motivation, of your own inspiration. If people around you, or like in your specific network or your group of connections, if they're interested in cooking, for example, and you could really care less about cooking, it doesn't really make sense for you to build a project around cooking or recipes or that kind of thing if it's just not something that's interesting to you. I feel like it wouldn't be, first of all, you wouldn't show up in a way that's really genuine and passionate, because it's not something that's, that you're passionate about. And yeah, and second of all, I don't even know. I don't even know. But moving on, since obviously every single person on this planet has different tastes and preferences, you're never going to create something and put it out there where you'll be absolutely positively sure that you're not running the risk of receiving less than crazy about your project feedback, right? And like, I think that too, kind of segueing back, is we're not, even anything that's less than really applause and like someone who's super excited about the project, like really shouting your praises, that's great. If we don't get any response, like nothing, no, just like no likes, no comments, no validation, really, that's disastrous, right? And then if we get a negative piece of feedback, it's like, oh my God, I knew it. I'm an imposter. I'm a fraud. I should not have even dabbled. I should not have even like dared to put myself out there. That like I'm going back into my shell right now. But even when we get those bits of less than crazy about your project feedback, so that's to say anything less than this is amazing, you're amazing, you are, God's gift to humankind. It's 100% okay. If you're interested in it, if you're passionate about it and you keep working to build your skills and you're doing something awesome for your own life and just for, I don't know, just pursuing something that you're passionate about, it's 100% okay that people don't respond or people respond negatively. It doesn't mean anything about you. So here are 2 questions to ask yourself when you have an idea you want to bring to life. And actually only the first one is mandatory. Well, actually they're both, well, I don't know. You'll judge for yourself. I think the first one is mandatory. So the first one is this interesting to me? Right? This goes back to, am I passionate about this? Is this going to be something that I can see through to the end because it's actually interesting to me and I have this deep desire to pursue this kind of creative pursuit? And then the second question is, will this bring me closer to the coding skills I need? And yeah, it's optional maybe, but maybe it's not. And even if you're not a coder, this can go anywhere. Will this bring me closer to the writing skills I need? Will this bring me closer to the design skills I need? It can be anything, but I think those 2 questions of like, is it interesting to me? And then also, is this helping me in my pursuit of whatever I'm trying to learn? These questions don't involve anyone else except for you. And I think that's the most important thing that we need to shift our mentalities to, or shift our mindsets to, is like what we're doing, so long as it's not hurting anyone, of course, but if we're pursuing something for the sake of creativity, for the sake of curiosity, it doesn't involve anyone else. It doesn't involve anyone else. And so when we're creating, we can't limit ourselves to what others might think, because the fact is, honestly, there are people out there right now who don't approve of what you're doing, or who might not even approve of you just for existing, like for any reason whatsoever. They had a bad experience with you before, or they're maybe like they envy something about you. I don't know, but there are already people out there who in their minds maybe just don't think favorably of you. But the question is that hurting you right now? And the answer is no, because you don't even know about it, right? And not to mention, you can't control what anyone thinks about you, or how anyone feels about you. So I think overall, it's just, we have to get used to the idea that everyone is entitled to their own thoughts about anything. But if it's about you, there's no reason to tie that in about who you are as a person, as an individual, and how you feel about yourself, and how you show up when you're sharing your creative projects to the world and just putting them out to the world. Overall, if you prevent yourself from starting something, from starting a project, carrying it out, or sharing it, you're doing yourself a huge disservice, because if you really know that you want to bring something out, you want to build something just for the sake of building it, you want to pursue a hard goal or a dream of yours because honestly we only live once, why I feel like leaving that to the thoughts of other people is, yeah, it's just a huge disservice to you and your creativity. So I think overall you just need to start whatever it is you want to do. You want to start creating content, you want to start blogging, you want to start showing up on social media for and sharing stuff you're really passionate about, instead of kind of I always use this example, instead of being nervous about what that guy you slept with a few times in college, like years ago, thinks about it, right? Like, because you still follow each other on social media. Who cares about Nelson? No. Nelson, no. Who cares about that? And if we're still thinking about that, we really need to get Nelson, stop. And if we're still thinking about that, we really need to give ourselves a reality check, because it's time to move on, and it's time to really show up for ourselves and not worry about other people out there and who are kind of circling around us on social media and just in our lives themselves. Nellie, stop. So overall, let me see where I am with time. Oh, perfect. Cool. So overall, the message here is just start. Just start your project. There's seriously such beauty, power, overall badass goodness in starting and seeing a project, whether it's coding, writing, design, and just seeing that project through to the end. Don't get excited about the beginning and being inspired and then just lose interest once you start hitting more difficult parts, or once you start running into problems that you don't know how to solve. Those are the parts that will really enable the most growth. What else do I want to say? Overall, maybe just plan something out on paper. If you want to start showing up on social media more or blogging, just plan out what you want to write about, what you want to share, and kind of talk yourself through how often you want to show up, what do you want to do. It doesn't need to be so fleshed out, really. Just get to it. Nelson, stop, please. No, stop. My dog is just having a barking kind of day. Nelson, stop. Come here. You don't bark. Come here. Oh, okay. Got little Nelson up with me now because he's a little anxious with neighbors making noise. No. Just get to it a little bit at a time. You don't need to finish it all in one day. And I think that I'm definitely going to have to create a podcast episode about little bit at a time, one foot in front of the other, and then not beating yourself up when we don't go from starting a project to having it be production level finished at the end of the day. And then just pace yourself and enjoy the process. Be proud that you started. Be proud that you saw it through. Be proud that you brought that small seed of an idea to life, and be proud to share it far and widely, and forget about that dude from college. All right, friends, that's it for me for today. I think that, what do we have? Yeah, again, go to Codeland Distributed 2020. It's virtual this year because of obviously COVID-19. www.codelandconf.com. Tickets start at $0. My talk is being utterly fearless in your pursuit of learning to code. And yeah, sign up for the email newsletter for Ladies Code Collective at www.ladiescodecollective.com. All right, I will talk to you soon. Bye.